Hey, it's Jason Linett, and we're here talking hypnotic business systems with Dr. Tracy Riley. Tracy, how are you?
Good, good. Glad to be here talking to you as always.
Awesome. And for those that don't yet know you, could you briefly introduce yourself, please?
I am Dr. Tracy Riley. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, licensed in the state of Florida, and I got my doctorate right at 2 years ago in clinical psychology.
Excellent. And you've been inside of hypnotic business systems for quite a while now. Could you give some thoughts in terms of things that have stood out to you, things you've put into use inside of your hypnosis business?
Well, a fun fact about my hypnosis training is that I got trained by someone here in Florida that only trains mental health clinicians. And he doesn't even call it hypnosis, he calls it something different, a fancy foo-foo title. And so I trained with him for about 100 hours. And I started implementing this into my practice, but I just didn't feel like I had it. I didn't feel like I really knew what I was doing. And every time I hit a troubleshooting point, I just kind of froze and didn't know what to do. And then I'd revert back to what I know, which is traditional counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got into your program, I actually learned how to do hypnosis. And that's what I tell people. Like, I learned hypnosis by watching Jason Linett videos.
Awesome.
What
Awesome.
I really liked about your videos is you have some troubleshooting videos. You have, I think it's Talking Head Bob. Like, this is what you do when, and you laid out all these scenarios and walked us through what to do when something doesn't go textbook. As you know, 90% of the time it goes textbook, but
Mhm.
there's those few times I felt like I was getting them all. It was like, I don't know what to do. So I learned how to fix it by watching your videos.
Right, which I know you're also inside of Hypnotic Workers, which covers the hypnosis training, how to do hypnosis,
Yes.
though also inside of business systems, that's the application. But you're right, there's troubleshooting aspects in both programs because surprisingly, and this is a bit of a shock to the newbie out there, it does go well most of the time.
Most
But
of
to have the knowledge of how to handle something if some sort of speed bump is in the road, that's what helps us to inoculate those challenges even before they arise.
Exactly. And what I did with business systems is I watched a lot of your videos on presentations
Mhm.
because as a doctor, I get asked to do a lot of presentations. And so I wasn't sure how to put one together. What content do I use? What suggestibility experiments do I use? So I went into business systems and I watched some of your presentations at Rotaries or meetup groups or different places. And mine, because you have transcripts in there and it makes it very easy, my presentations are almost word for word what you would say. Of course, I tailor it to my personality and to the group that I'm meeting with, but I learned how to give presentations by watching you.
Awesome. Awesome. So, from the way that perhaps before that, if you were going out and attempting presentations in the past versus the way that you're doing now, if you had to kind of, give the overview as to what's different about this approach, what would that be?
It's my presentations now are very smooth.
Hmm.
They flow. They're funny when they're supposed to be funny. There's not that awkward, oh, that fell flat. So I've learned by watching you what jokes to throw in, that are not funny. And just I think my work flows when I do a presentation now, and I'm not nearly as nervous or worried or upset because I got my content, I got my material, and I've done it so many times now that it's smooth and flows.
Hmm. Well, it's that mindset that frameworks equal freedom. That when we have a framework, you can do exactly what you just did there, which is that, okay, so here's how I do it, and to understand the thinking as to how and why and what it accomplishes. And the way that you mentioned, folding in the suggestibility test. So we're not the person standing behind the lectern just talking, but really giving them an experience. How has that been working for you in terms of going out and giving those presentations and let's say actually converting into people coming in and working with you?
It's worked really well because not only did I get the content and some material and some practice on being able to do it, I've been able to convert people when I go to these places. And I've also from business systems gotten new ideas on where to contact people
Hmm.
to say, hey, I'm available. So it's not just a Rotary group, but there's so many
Oh
options
yeah.
that we have. And I learned that from looking at your videos, and then learned what do I do when I get there? Not just the content, but how do I convert them, and what am I offering them, and where is the call to action?
Mm-hmm.
And those are all things that I didn't learn in graduate school. I didn't learn in my doctorate program.
Well, even out of other hypnosis trainings, if they talk about business, they say things often on a surface structure of just put yourself out there or go out and give talks. Yet the entire formula is what has to happen to get them engaging, to give them value, and to have them appropriately wanting more. That's
Right.
the focus that we share in business systems.
Yeah, and it works. If you do it, if you apply it, it works. Now, there are some things that I did that I modeled after you that they don't work for me. They
Mm-hmm.
don't work for my area. And some things didn't, they just kind of fell flat. But I just laughed it off and I was like, well, that didn't work. Let me try something else, or let me try that again in a different way, and found what works for me. So you've got the model there, but then it's customizable to each person.
Yeah, and you brought up something there that I love, which is that the quick history is that this program originally came out under a different name, Hypnosis Business Bootcamp, and it was linear, start here, finish there. And I listened to everybody who was inside, and they wanted something more choose your own adventure, which is where we rebuilt it as the current version, Hypnotic Business Systems. Because the truth is, you can't do everything in the world to grow your business. And there's no specific logic behind this other than the fact I'm busy with so many other things. I'm not on Twitter. Okay. It may sometimes duplicate a post, something that I've put on one platform to Twitter, but I'm not actively engaging there yet. It doesn't mean it's neither good nor bad. That's just one of those avenues I have chosen to not go down. So there's always that aspect of testing inside of the business. So what else has been working for you in terms of getting clients from the systems?
What I like about getting the clients is, and this is again something that I got from you, is to let people get to know me through my website, let them get to know me through videos. And a lot of people are not comfortable with videos, and I'm still not comfortable, but I've learned that that's what works, because people want to get to know the person that they're investing their time and their money in. So doing those videos and putting it out there, and some of my videos are very rehearsed and formal and educational, and then other ones are my bloopers and my, hey, guess what I'm talking about here today, and let me show you a picture of Maslow,
Yep.
and things like that. So I've learned to balance. Yes, there's education, yes, there's content, but then there's also letting my personality come through and letting people see who they're getting when they call.
Yeah. Which is, again, people do business with people, and to have that interaction, which I love what you highlighted there, but sometimes it is that formal video, but to balance it out with just the human one, where here's the one where we mess up a word, we just keep rolling. It's not as perfect. And when people see that, it's what connects them to us more than anything else. If it's too flawless, then it seems too distant and they dissociate. But if it's a person they can actually identify with, that's when they're ready to move forward. Well, Tracy, this has been fantastic. Any final thoughts for the folks out there looking to either start up or scale up their hypnosis businesses?
Funny story. I've had a couple of people come to me and ask me what I'm doing. And the first thing I always say is, whatever Jason Linett tells me, like what Jason Linett is doing is working. And I've had a few people go, no, his stuff doesn't work. I've done his stuff doesn't work. And I'm like, well, it works. It works if you do it. It works if you invest the time and the energy and the effort into doing it. You just got to do it. Just be like Nike, just do it.